Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about this dud of a Memorial Day weekend, the worst in decades, like 30 years. It's not good for Hollywood. And, it's Stranger showing the Fall Guy. We actually watched.
I thought that was weird. It wasn't a Memorial Day movie, but
no, but they're just talking about it just in general. All these movies that are coming out in May. That normally May is the official start of the summer box office, and that's when all the tentpole franchises come out, or at least the movies tend to do better. But they're not doing well because nobody's going to the theater. They're out touching grass, I guess, or something. We're gonna talk about this. Lots of reasons why. We're gonna speculate, but the rap here thinks it knows why people aren't going to the theater. I'm sure they're not gonna blame Hollywood.
I think it's because people are tired of Hollywood's bullshit.
Yeah. They are.
I mean, I think that's what it is. People are just, they know that's hit or miss for the movies. Most of them are gonna be bait and switch or gender-driven BS. So they just don't go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I think it is.
I agree. We'll talk about this because this reminds me of a summer when I was a kid. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 90 or 91. There weren't a lot of like big box office tentpole movies that year. And I remember being very disappointed because we had like Batman and all stuff, every year. And then all of a sudden it was like the biggest movie is like Robin Hood or something. I was like, wait, what? That's the summer movie is Robin Hood? Like, nah, that can't be it. But let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to Indiegogo, back Shadow Binders Volume 3, and also the redrive. Yes, the reprint drive.
That's what you call it, redrive. It's a
redrive. Yeah, we should do that.
It's actually a re-redrive.
A re-redrive. Yeah, this is the second reprinting of the Shadow Binders collections, and also the first offering of Shadow Binders Volume 3. If you want to help us make more books, which we're working on currently, go out to that campaign back if people ask for Indiegogo. We did offer this the end of last year on our website, but some people are like, no, we want to go through a regular platform. So go out to Indiegogo, check it out, please. All right, let's talk about Tubi first. Let's talk about Tubi first, because I thought this is very interesting.
Oh, yeah, you were very amused by this.
I was incredibly amused. This is coming from the official Tubi account. Tubi said it's going to be a Tubi summer, staying home and saving money. And this might be a big factor, but it's interesting because Tubi's really been ramping it up lately. And we've talked about, this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, at least. And you've been saying it since, even when it first happened that Disney overpaid for Fox and then Rupert Murdoch went and bought Tubi, you were like, wait, they just took Disney's money and went and bought another streamer?
Yeah, people weren't catching that. I'm like, so Disney took this money because they wanted content for Disney Plus and for Hulu, but Rupert Murdoch went and he bought an existing streaming platform. Like Disney could have done the same thing. They could have bought Tubi and just turned it into Disney Plus, just threw all their Disney content. Instead, they spent billions of dollars building their own platform, but the platform was already there. It had good bones, right? And so now Rupert Murdoch took a fraction of the money that Disney gave him for basically his garage sale and went and bought Tubi. And now Tubi's killing it. I guess the numbers are through the roof now.
Yep.
And lots of people watching Tubi because this is like TV and it's free and there's tons of content.
You've been sitting here banging the Tubi drum for years.
I have been,
because he loves Roku and he loves Tubi, and he said it many, many times on here. But we weren't surprised.
Yeah, Roku, Tubi, Pluto, all those like almost like linear TV type free ad supported networks. I like them because sometimes I like to just turn the TV on and find something to watch and leave it run in the background.
They're talking about Kamen Rider and Ultraman, which we have running on ours all the time. Tubi will just go to a channel and just run different like animes and stuff like that. We've been using it for years.
Retro Crush, I watch that all the time.
We've been using it here for years. Kneon has been obsessed with Tubi for a while now.
I very seldom watch like anything on Netflix unless it's like, like a big event movie or something like that we check out to review. But I can't remember the last time I've willingly watched anything on Disney Plus. Like it was more like we'd watch it just because it was a thing. But yeah, it's not going so well for them at the box office either.
No, so this Memorial Day is one of the worst Memorial Days ever. It was bad. It was bad.
Since 95.
Wow.
Yeah, so the number one film for this weekend, Furiosa, made just $32 million.
4 days.
Over 4 days, making it the lowest number one Memorial Day since 95, when Casper opened to $22 million before inflation. But that summer was actually pretty decent, 95, because they had Batman Forever. And there are some other big releases that came out that year. So it wasn't just,
after inflation, I'm sure it's more than 32 million.
Yeah. Box office analyst company Nash said that they projected 164 million 4-day total prior to the start of the weekend. That would have been enough to make it the lowest Memorial Day weekend since 99, but the final total has clocked in at 128 million, down 37% from last year and the lowest in 26 years. They said this is a tipping point. What are you going to do? There's nothing else coming other than Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, what else is coming out this summer?
Well, that's the I think there's a lot of things that the movies that they're being offered are not great. Like, a lot of people don't like Furiosa. Some people said it's a really good movie. I'm just saying.
It's not about the quality. They said
it was a good movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't, they like Mad Max and they don't really care for the, spin-offs. People are tired of movies being redone over and over and over, or spin-off after spin-off after spin-off. You also, I hate to say it, but like when it comes to you see Furiosa, but you remember the last Terminator movie and the different things, and it's just, don't come see it if you're a guy. The Marvels bomb because of that same narrative and things. And ironically, men usually make up the most of the box office for those. But they keep spinning narratives, and it's even if a movie isn't narrative driven, like if you go to like the Haunted Mansion, for example, there wasn't any narrative that I saw, but people were all worried it was going to be a narrative movie because it was it was a mixed cast, but there was a lot of non-white people in it. That does not make it a bad movie. But then the thing is, we grew up in the 90s the 80s and 90s where that happened all the time and no one gave a shit.
No, but now
yes,
that's all they talk about.
They lead with, but because it's this, people just, and it's not right. People just see like, oh, it's a female-led spinoff of Mad Max. I'm not going to go see it. It's it's more of Captain Marvel. I'm not going to go see it.
Race swapping, gender swapping.
Right. And
the director's out there talking about politics again.
Right. And it just turns people off.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's like people are just over it. I mean, one, it's expensive and people don't have the money. And now streaming's around. So when we were kids, it wasn't. But now streaming's here. And so you don't really need to go to the movies. You could watch much better movies at home. We got better at home.
That's pretty much it. And that's kind of what Tubi was saying. Like, hey, we got
more popular things. Yeah. And it's like, so you don't want to go to the theater because you're probably disappointed, or you want to wait till everybody else sees it first to see what they said about it, or wait till it comes on streaming. I can't tell you how many times now I'm just like, oh, I'll just wait for streaming.
Yeah. They said it was on only on Memorial Day that the monthly domestic total for May crossed 500 million.
Yikes.
Compared to the 774 million for the entire month of May of 2023. Wow. Okay.
That's bad.
Yeah. The question is, does a historically poor May signal a crisis for the box office as a whole? Yeah. Why are they dancing around the issue? They're trying to say well, if the pandemic doesn't finish Hollywood off, the strikes will. I'm like, it's not just that. It's the pandemic, then the strikes, now piss poor movies.
It was piss poor movies for a while. It's just catching up.
It's catching up to them now.
Basically, they had excuses before, and now they're running out of excuses. And now they're going to have to say, oh, yeah, it's the piss poor movies.
And I'm sorry, I do not believe Inside Out 2 is going to do gangbusters. I think it might do better than Lightyear, but it's not going to be there. Like, see how the narrative keeps changing. They're like, this is going to be the first $100 million movie of the year, guys. Honest. The sun will come out tomorrow. And I'm like, This is a sequel nobody asked for, directed by the director of The Good Dinosaur, which was one of Pixar's biggest flops until their last biggest flop.
And then Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm with you. I think it's gonna probably do around, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 numbers. If that, because, it's rated R. And people are tired of Marvel.
Yeah, and like last year we had Sonic. We didn't have Sonic last year, I'm sorry. Mario, and then before that we had Sonic. And theatrical is a very fragile ecosystem. Anything that disrupts it has a ripple effect down the line. If you guys hear noise in the background, it is a dark and stormy night.
It's a dark and stormy afternoon.
It is a dark and stormy afternoon, and I'm sure Hollywood's going to be feeling it. I mean, look, I read somewhere that it's like 75% of Hollywood, like a lot of people are unemployed right now. They're bussing tables, they're driving Ubers, they're doing everything but working in Hollywood because the production shut down and the money is running out. And it's going to be this domino effect of where studios are going to be like, well, one, we're not going to be doing these massive, overly expensive tentpole movies anymore because nobody's going to go see them. This kind of reminds me of what happened with Square when it came to AAA titles, right? I did a video on this last week, and you weren't in on that video, so I'll tell you real quickly what happened. Square Enix, how they determine whether or not their ridiculously overpriced video games are worth it is in the 5-year period it took to develop this game. If we took that $100 or $200 million and put it into the stock market, will we have made more money in the stock market?
Okay. The answer is probably yes.
Yes. And they said, if that is the case, then we don't spend the money on the game going forward. And I think that's what's going to happen with Hollywood. They're going to be like, we can't spend $250 million on a movie that's going to make us negative $150 million.
But that's what Disney keeps doing.
That's what they keep doing. And you can only do that so long.
The returns are going lower and lower. So they're going to have different reasons why this happened. They blame the strike, which I do think the strike did tie into it in some ways. But I also know, I'm looking into next year, things got pushed back. I'm not seeing a lot of really big things I think are going to be a draw. I think you guys just made poor choices on what movies you made. Yeah. I think you had some really good movies, and looking forward, I'm not seeing a lot of really good movies coming. There's a couple, but you guys have chosen poorly on what you decided to double down on. The second reason they're trying to blame it on it, there was no Marvel for Memorial Day. Marvel has been, each movie has been doing worse and worse. The Marvels ended up being pulled early from the theater and was like the lowest performer ever.
Oh my God.
For a Marvel film, which is saying something. Now you do have Deadpool and Wolverine, but I don't think it's going to do the numbers like the $1 billion box offices like we used to have.
No, I don't think so. It is an R-rated movie. And then there is Joker 2. The first Joker did $1 billion. But I really don't know. I don't even know how to project the box office for movies anymore. The only thing I knew last year was that Mario was going to be huge. I knew because it's a Mario movie, pent up demand, whatever, it actually looked pretty good. And that's a movie that people are going to go to the theater for. I figured Barbie and Oppenheimer would be big. I did not expect Barbie to be that big.
I think the Barbenheimer had a lot to do with all that too. I think that which was smart. They're talking about The Fall Guy. I actually just watched The Fall Guy. Actually, The Fall Guy wasn't bad.
It was pretty good. I think under different circumstances. Well, here's the thing.
I still want to go to the theater.
Yeah, that's it. The Fall Guy was a good movie, but again, is it worth going to the theater for that movie? The answer is no. It's based on a TV show. Because
now you have options. You don't have to go to the theater. You can wait. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is it's not going to be theaters anymore.
Oh, just as... Yeah, God agrees.
I don't know if people can hear that. There's
I don't know if you can hear the thunder
I said no theaters anymore, and it was like...
It went... Dun, dun, dun. But even Planet of the Apes, they're like, Planet of the Apes is going to save us, guys. That's what Bob Iger was betting on.
I told you that wasn't going to do great.
And it did okay for that franchise, but it's not, again, Planet of the Apes is not a massive franchise anymore.
They're just not. That comes the next part. They're picking these things that are not 4-quadrant tentpoles. Furiosa and Garfield were never going to do super well because it's a Mad Max movie, but Mad Max hasn't been. I mean, they're big, but they're not like to the level that you need it to be.
The Fury Road was critically well received, but I guess it didn't make a lot of money at the box office.
And Garfield could have done well, but from my understanding, it wasn't very good.
No, I heard Garfield was not good, and that's another. So look. All right, we're just going to try to work through the storm here, guys. If it gets too loud, we might have to. Yeah, there might be some thunder, but I guess it fits given the ominous tone of this video. Yeah, they said that none of these movies made bank. They
even said they were never going to be like no one expected Furiosa to be the Fast and the Furious.
Right. But Furiosa, even the Fast and the Furious, the last one, I don't know if it made as much as they were expecting.
People are getting tired of 1,000,001 remakes and sequels and all that crap. It's going to be the same movie all over again, just like it's going to be vanilla instead of chocolate this time, or chocolate chip mint instead of vanilla, Well,
this is it. You can't believe the projections. They said originally Furiosa was supposed to do 40 million domestic and 80 to 85 worldwide. It opened 32 domestic and 65 global against a $168 million budget. That's despite people liking the movie. Apparently people like the movie. And I've actually heard from people that it was
people
okay.
liked it, yeah.
But Furiosa, wasn't expected to be a big hit. Garfield met projections with its $31 million start. Should turn a profit with a 91 million gross so far against a 60 million production budget. At least it wasn't. What was that one that Ruby Gillman.
Yeah, that was
DreamWorks
bad.
did. It did like $8 million opening weekend. But again, this is Garfield, but I'm also like, Garfield is how many decades past his prime? Like, and how many Garfield, again, we have Garfield at home. We've had Garfield TV shows. We've had Garfield DVD movies. We've had 2 Bill Murray movies. We've had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, do we really need more Garfield? Actually, what they should do, and I was talking to Squid King about it the other day, is they should do a Garfield minus Garfield movie.
Garfield minus Garfield?
Yeah, just do Garfield minus Garfield and have a guy playing, get a really good actor to play John, and just have Garfield as a figment of his imagination.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just absolutely batshit, and it's like an A24 art house film. I'd watch that one, but I'm not going to go see
I don't think that would perform very well either. I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
but I don't.
But
as
yeah,
funny
they're
as
like-
that would be.
But they're like, yeah, Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 are going to save the box office. Despicable Me, maybe. But I think Pixar's damaged goods. I do not. I could be wrong, but I do not get the feeling that Inside Out 2 is going to do the numbers they think it's going to do.
I don't see people talking about it. However,
Nobody
I've seen them
cares.
running ads for it ahead of videos now. Now here's where it comes down to audiences are more selective. I think that's what the whole thing actually is. I think it's audiences are more selective, and I think Hollywood has been putting out stuff that people aren't. It's not worth the effort to go. You have to make it like an event. It has to be worth the effort for people to go to the theater because now they have all kinds of options. They have lots of things they can do at home that cost a lot less.
Oh my God. I love this. Remember how they tried to black out any media coverage of Sound of Freedom last year? Now they wish to God they had another Sound of Freedom because they're rolling it in with hits Doom Part 2, Barbenheimer, and Sound of Freedom. Like you guys tried so hard to black this movie out last year, and now you would kill for another hit like that this year.
But they're also saying that even when a movie's good, like Furio gets good reviews from people like
Doesn't matter.
Furiosa and Fall Guy, it doesn't matter.
Fall Guy was good.
I'll tell
It
you
was
what,
good.
people are going to wait because you can already buy, by the way, Fall Guy on digital, which is what we did.
Yeah.
People are just going to wait. They're going to be like, I'm going to wait for digital. And now, sadly, it's going to probably take out movie theaters. And sometimes I think movies are worth going to the theater to see. But a lot of times they're not.
It's kind of a delayed reaction. It's kind of the same with arcades. I love arcades. I loved that scene back in the day. And there still are arcades, and there are some throwback arcades. But they don't have the prevalence that they had back in the day because you can get it at home. You can play the video games at home, you know, and not have to spend. If you're going to drop $50, you're going to buy a game you can own, or you're going to, subscribe to a service or something, not just drop it on a Pac-Man machine.
Because people want all the money. Well, here it says here, but after the pandemic permanently altered the public's entertainment viewing habits, there's a widening category for many people between skip this one and see it in theaters that films can be classified into the wait until home release, category, where people are intrigued by a film's strong reviews but decide to wait until they can digitally rent or stream the film rather than spend money on premium format movie tickets and concessions, not to mention the babysitter.
Yes.
I think that's what's going on. They said with Fall Guy, it just started its premium on-demand run.
Yeah, we thought it was weird. Like we're like, wait, you can buy it already?
Yeah, it wasn't even out. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's still to be seen whether it performed well enough for Digital Runner or Peacock to have return on investment. But that's how we watched it. I was going to wait till it was on streaming because I wanted to see it, but was it one that I felt like I really, really had to go to the theater to see? No, and I think that people are just getting tired of Hollywood's bullshit, and even if something's good, they're going to wait to see it because they're just like, yeah, I'll wait till my friends see it and they're saying it's good, but at this point I'll just wait till it's on streaming because I don't want to spend the money, I don't want to waste my time, and I'm tired of Hollywood BS.
Pretty much. I think this is just as an aside here. You get to the bottom, and they were claiming that Inside Out 2 was going to be the first $100 million opener. Now they're saying Despicable Me 4 or Deadpool and Wolverine will be the first $100 million this year. Not Inside Out 2. It's actually tracking lower. I'm still standing by. I think it's going to come in lower than this, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. We're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to check out Indiegogo again for Shadowbinders Volume 1, 2, and 3. You've got 2 weeks. We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.